before I was willing to consider myself and embrace the idea of like, okay, I'm a creative, I'm an artist, like, whatever term we want to use, I was able to sort of tiptoe into it through kind of user experience design, sort of analysis and testing, and the principles of like seem to be the building blocks that allow people to like use things without uh, running screaming or pulling their hair out. Hey, Justin. I am editing some video for YouTube. Just finished one a little bit ago. Yeah, so I made that video thumbnail for a video that should go up tomorrow about how to balance encounters. Kind of seems like that seems. I'm actually having a lot more fun since I've stopped really trying to put a lot of titles on the thumbnails. I'm kind of enjoying just making cool art with miniatures and terrain and stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of jumping back and forth between editing, getting videos ready, and then setting up like a little shoot here with some stuff to make a thumbnail. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I think it's I would say this is I guess the romantic in me, but I think that probably the world would be a better place if we applied the word artist a lot more liberally and let more people into the club, right? Including us, right? Like whatever that club is. Because art is one of those ideas that becomes really hard to nail down. Like if you ever tried to fully describe a chair, like give me a description of a chair, I can probably break your definition really easily. It's actually really hard to fully encapsulate ideas like that, and art is just that times a million. Like what is art? Is it in the eye of the beholder? Is it subject to strict definitions? Can anything be art? Well, maybe, but that also seems dismissive of the concept, right? It seems more than that. And rather than talk about what is or could be art or whether somebody qualifies, if we instead look at it as like, I think being called an artist sort of empowers people, right, to view what they do as an artistic endeavor. And that maybe that the utility of the word and the utility of the association for people is probably worth it. Because I've watched people, like, since I've, when I talk to people and I can see their faces and stuff like that, and I have expressed a lot of these feelings to them and sort of try to encourage them, like, well, you're what you do is art, like that thing that you do, whatever the thing is that they do. And you can see people sort of brighten up, lighten up, like transform, like, oh, I guess, yeah, maybe I am an artist. It's like, yes, we are human beings and we make art in lots of different ways, but that's a thing that we do. Creative's a good one too. It feels a little bit more like business slanted, but it's still true, right? It feels safer, right? It feels like you can validate it. I would kind of agree. So I would say that my before I was willing to consider myself and embrace the idea of like, okay, I'm a creative, I'm an artist, like, whatever term we want to use, I was able to sort of tiptoe into it through kind of user experience design, sort of analysis and testing, and the principles of like seem to be the building blocks that allow people to like use things without running screaming or pulling their hair out. And so I would almost think of it as like applied design. I would still, I don't know that I can, who knows what value truly is, right? But in terms of the stuff that interests me, there's a reason that I called my crafting streams, it's not really about the crafting, because it's the application of the crafting that makes me so interested in them. It's the fact that I'm making something that's going to enable an experience. It's not just like, I mean, you almost never find me just like making like a diorama or making something, maybe if I thought of something cool and I was like, I want to hang this on the wall, maybe in that case. But for the most part, I'm doing what I would consider that like sort of applied experience design via crafting or via whatever else. And that for me, not speaking for everybody, but for me, that has like a ton of value. I don't really spend any time making just art for art's sake, you know? Oh, cool. Woodworking must be awesome. Cake decorating too, but yeah, that's fun. Yeah, it would have been really neat to like I really like aside from painting some miniatures and doing maybe some I've always been sort of creative with like, you know, before the kids, Ash and I would throw like themed parties. Like we're gonna have like a James Bond party. We're gonna have like a video game party, and we do all sorts of stuff. Like I've always been creative in the sort of the abstract sense. Um, I guess I've always been a party planner, but uh, it wasn't really until D&D that I went beyond like, oh yeah, I've painted a couple miniatures for like a board game before to like, oh, this is the part where I just sort of gesture behind me. It's like, oh, I'm gonna do all that now. Uh, so it's kind of wild to get here. I spent 30 years not really doing anything like this stuff, um, and then to just be all into it. But I think I really do think it's that applied design work, that application of the stuff that I'm making. You know, it has such a direct impact, and that's what gets me all juiced up about it. It would be so much easier for me to get so many things done that I want to do with my time if I wasn't running three campaigns for my friends. Uh, I could get a lot more of this other stuff done, but at the same time, I feel like if I lose that personal game that's private, that aside from me talking about it and making stuff, and like obviously I talk about it plenty, but it's still kind of hidden away in private, like that. That game, those games don't see the light of day like an actual play. It feels like I have to hold on to that in some way. That way I can be better, you know, over here because I think that what you're talking about, Jay, is also really tricky. Like the more that we, the more that it associates in a certain part of our mind, the less it can associate in other parts. Yeah, it's a really complicated thing. I need to think more about it. One of the reasons that I really like that I'm enjoying making these clips each day, and I think one of these nights I should be able to get far enough ahead that I won't have to like do it every day. But I'm really enjoying this like hyper focus on like one question and one answer, because then I end up like thinking about it all day. And in the process of doing that, I'm like, I should like write out, like I can expand on these ideas. Like when I'm giving an answer on stream and it's just like an off the cuff thing, I'm like, I could probably write like 1,000 words about that. I should just do that. Um, but it's interesting because it's like now I have like a purpose. I'm not even sure what I'm going to do with it. Maybe I'll put it on my website or start up a Substack or something like that. But I know that there's more that I want to say about these things. And now that I'm making these videos, based on 8-month-old streams, I'm like, oh shoot, I can expand on this in a big way. Yeah. I'm technically a theater kid. I wish I would have been able to do more theater. I don't do music stuff. I never did the musical theater things, but anytime in school there was just an acting role, I loved it. Yeah.